Best Friends Kitchen. I have in the kitchen today Sharon and Jay Morrell and their puppy Harley. Hi, everybody. Now, guys, it's so good to have you with us. And Jay, I'm a little intimidated because we're going to be cooking Italian today, and you are the authentic Italian. So I'm intimidated by what we're doing. But you came up with a great recipe, and it's a recipe that he can feed Harley as well. And as my understanding, he has already had some of this at one point in time. So you know he likes it, right?
Yeah, he likes it, yeah.
All right, very good. It is a brown butter and garlic spaghetti. Now, when I say garlic, don't go, I can't feed garlic to my pets. Because yes, you can in small amounts, but we're going to show you how you don't feed it to them with garlic at all. So, guys, have you cooked anything recently using like the browned butter or anything?
No, I have never, not this recipe, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's tell everybody before we get started, we're melting some butter here. This is about a cup of butter. It's 2 sticks of butter. And that's going to go for probably about 10 ounces of cooked spaghetti. We're going to talk about the different elements that's going into this dish and how it's good for your pets and good for us. So I'm going to let Jay kind of show as we're talking about it. Let's first of all talk about the pasta that we're using. Now this is just plain, regular, white pasta. But you can use whole wheat pasta, you can use veggie pasta. Do y'all cook with any of that, or do you use just normally?
Yes, we do sometime, but this is my favorite. The regular old pasta is the best.
It is. I mean, it's that good starchy, everything just clings to it so much better. But if you're watching your weight or you're, just wanting to cut out extra carbs or gluten-free, you can do that. Lots and lots of possibilities with pasta, and your dogs can have all of it. So any of this is fine. Carbohydrates, the only time you want to watch carbohydrates is if you've got an older dog. Now, Harley's how old?
Harley's 12.
Harley is 12 years old. So he's getting to the age where maybe he doesn't need as much carbohydrates as some of the other dogs. So when he eats pasta, he might want to have a little bit more meat mixed in with it or some vegetables or something like that instead of just having a full pasta meal like we really want. Yeah, Harley says that's what I want too. Okay, then let's talk about the cheese since that's sitting there in front of you. Now you don't have to have cheese when you do a spaghetti. You don't have to, but
No, you gotta have cheese.
I was going to say, but if you're Italian and you're like me, everything's better with butter and cheese. So I just picked a shredded cheese that's a 3 cheese blend. You can use Parmesan. You can use, what kind do y'all use? Do you use the Parmesan or Reggiano?
I like the Romano.
Okay, and Romano.
And the Asiagos. I like both of those really well.
So are those really good Italian cheeses?
The Romano is, especially. And Parmesan. You see that on The Sopranos, everybody had Parmesan.
Parmesan, yeah. Real quickly, let's tell everybody, since we're talking about cheese. Now, I bought this pre-shredded. Y'all probably eat a lot of cheese. Do you eat the cheese that is already shredded? Do you buy yours? Or how do y'all feel like is the best way, most healthy, I guess?
I have a hard time finding cheese, but I found some, should I mention the store? I found Publix. Publix has a cheese, I can't remember the name of it, but it comes in a green and red lettering on it. And that's the best cheese I've found around here. But sometimes if we can find good chunk cheese, we'll grate it up, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. So that's why I kind of opted for the this. Well, good to know that I got some that is good. Now, let's move on to butter. If you'll notice, that is butter. It is not margarine. You do not want to use margarine in this because margarine has a lot of water. It's hydrogenated a lot of times. So you want to use the real thing. And you can use salted or unsalted. Now, I chose salted butter. A lot of people prefer unsalted butter just because they feel like they want to be able to add their own and control the amount of salt in it. But salt's one of my, butter, cheese, salt, that sort of thing. So to make it really good and yummy, I just chose that. And that in limited amounts is fine for your pets as well. Extra virgin olive oil. Do you guys cook with the olive oil or do you use?
Oh yeah, we use olive oil for everything.
Okay, and olive oil, of course, is one of the most healthy oils. When you're using, I don't know, especially for a dog, that is older, that may have, now Harley, I don't know if y'all can see this, has the most beautiful coat. I mean, you just want to pet it and pet it. Harley's a Pomeranian, but he has a short cut. So when you're doing this, it's just all soft and silky. But as they get older, dog skin, just like ours, and their hair kind of becomes a little brittle. So olive oil, you can just take, if you've cooked your spaghetti in olive oil, that's awesome, or anything, you can take a teaspoon to a tablespoon, depending on the size of your dog. Just drizzle a little olive oil over the top of it. It's good for their coat, good for their skin. So we like to cook with olive oil. Our final ingredient, garlic. Now, I know that garlic, fresh garlic, you can't beat that. And I'm sure y'all use that a lot. I chose this because we're wanting to show everybody how you can cook and add that garlic portion if you don't want to feed it to your dog. If it's hard for you to figure out, well, is this, too much, or I just don't even want to chance it, that you can add it a little bit later. So I chose a garlic paste. It says that 1 teaspoon equals 1 medium clove of garlic. And this recipe right here is basically going down. I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit more so you can kind of see what we're doing, but it's all to taste, especially when you get down to the garlic and the herbs and things like that. That's mainly to taste. All right, y'all ready to kind of get going here. Now, the object of brown butter, and you can see how we're going, it's kind of been sitting here just simmering a little bit. We haven't really got down to the cooking part of it. The browning of the butter gives the butter a nutty flavor. But you've got to watch it. You've got to be on it. You want to be stirring it constantly. As you notice, there's going to be some separation to that butter. You're going to see the solid kind of separate away from the water that's in that butter. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. If you're standing on top of it, you can just go ahead and stir and stir and stir and stir. You want to keep it going. As much as you can, keep it going. Now, while I'm stirring, tell us a little bit about how you got into, where you got Harley and that sort of thing, and what made you guys decide to feed him fresh foods or incorporate that into his diet.
Well, Harley was actually, if you can believe it, a rescue dog.
Wow.
And it's not as bad as it sounds. He did have good parents. They just couldn't take care of him. So he ended up in a rescue, and they had said, find Harley a good home. So we think we gave him that good home. We love him to death.
Oh, yeah. I think he's just a tiny bit spoiled. Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little
And
bit.
he was 5 when we got him, so
Oh,
we've had him a
gosh.
while.
Yeah, so he's been living the good life for a long time.
Yeah.
What about him? Now, Pomeranians do tend to have skin issues. They can tend to have digestive issues and everything. Have you found that to be true with Harley?
No.
So he can pretty much eat anything that's coming along. Do y'all adapt any of your foods to Harley? I mean, or does he pretty much, you just know from kind of like what we do here at Best Friends Kitchen, this is what we're eating and we're going to take a portion of it out. Is that kind of what y'all do?
Yeah.
Harley eats the chicken.
Harley's favorite is chicken.
Yeah, his favorite's chicken.
There you
So
go.
He
Chicken.
almost has that every day.
Chicken, okay, every day. Does he have pasta? What else do you give him? Does that go
Well-
on top of his kibble, or how does that work?
He'll maybe get some in a bowl or whatever we're eating, but a lot of things he won't eat it. He used to like pasta a lot. I think he liked the garlic, but
Probably so, the flavoring, yeah.
but he likes his chicken. He's got to have that every day, so he gets white meat chicken every day.
Well, that is very good. As long as you're talking about chicken, and especially for older animals, chicken is considered a natural anti-inflammatory. When you're sick at your stomach or your dog's sick and you call it out, what can I do? He says, well, boil him some chicken. So Harley gets a little bit heavy, so Mama has
Harley's
to...
very heavy.
Yeah, so after a while you have to put Harley down. But Harley's not going to go very far because Mom and Daddy's here and food's cooking. So we're just going to keep on. But honestly, there he is. He's just sitting there waiting for his bites and everything. That's a good thing. If a go-to is chicken, always. Vegetables, does Harley like any vegetables?
Are you kidding?
He doesn't like his vegetables. Oh, Harley.
I'm talking about feeding Harley, but his mama takes care of him, so she can tell you more about. But I know he doesn't eat vegetables.
Wow. Well, let's talk about while we're doing this, let's talk about some ways that, especially if you have a pet that's getting older and you're concerned about nutrition, and maybe they're not wanting to eat their kibble as well. You know, a lot of times as they get older, their teeth will not be as good or whatever. They may have to lose some teeth, and so the kibble is dry and it's harder. Well, I have a secret for getting dogs and kids and everything to eat their vegetables, and it's baby food.
Oh.
So if you're cooking for them and he likes meat, say you're doing chicken and you're cooking and you've got it boiled, do you boil it, do you bake it, how do you, just anyway, he doesn't care.
Cook it on the stove, boil it.
Okay, you can shred that up and you can put baby food, carrots, there's butternut squash, there's green beans, there's all kinds, there's even the fruits, you know, in baby food. Well, you can take that and either mix it in with the chicken. You can mix it in, if he likes red meat at all, you can make an all-purpose meat mixture that's kind of like a meatloaf, and you put that in there. And then they're getting vegetables, but they don't have that feel. A lot of them have a texture. Smaller dogs have a problem with texture. I've told this story on other episodes, but the funniest thing is when you're introducing, you know, like fresh vegetables and everything to an animal, and they find one that they don't like. And one day I was cooking, and I was actually at an event, and I was cooking, and I had our Chihuahua, my mom's Chihuahua, who's Mr. Jiggles, and Mr. Jiggles was there, and he'll eat just about anything, except I found out he doesn't like corn. So we've got all these, you know, mixed vegetables, and he's eating, and all of a sudden I say, yum, 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 yum. And I mean, that dog spit corn halfway across the room. So a lot of them just don't like that texture. So baby food is a good way to get Harley to eat his veggies.
Well, he is your baby, so you could.
Well, yeah,
We
you
try
can,
that.
you can definitely do that. Now, we're going here. The butter is starting to pick up and roll. And we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to zoom in here a little bit more, let you see the butter cooking, show you we've got some pasta cooking, and we're going to put it all together and have a little taste.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kayla Mitchell at Paris Veterinary Clinic. Did you know that grain-free diets can actually be harmful for your pet? With the recent fad in grain-free diets in human medicine, a lot of people are putting their pets on grain-free diets, and unfortunately, we've had a large increase in dogs and cats with heart disease that's related to grain-free diets. So if your pet is on a grain-free diet right now, I encourage you to go speak to your veterinarian and make sure that that diet is okay for your pet. And if you want to do some research in the meantime, you should visit the statement from the FDA that talks about dilated cardiomyopathy from grain-free diets. And if you have concerns, please talk to your vet.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We are back here with Sharon and Jay and Harley, and we're cooking brown butter spaghetti with garlic. Now, are you ready? We've got our butter. It has browned, and it smells really nutty. I mean, you don't think about that, but can y'all smell that?
Yeah, it smells really good.
It smells good. I mean, it really does. But now we've got to think about, we've got our pasta in the bowl. It's cooked. We've drained it. Make sure you drain it because you don't want watery pasta. Speaking of pasta, here again, I'm intimidated because I know Italians usually eat their pasta al dente, meaning, you know, just a little bit firm there, and everybody says you're supposed to be able to throw it up against a wall and all that kind of stuff. This is cooked a little bit longer than it should.
Okay. That's all right.
So don't judge everybody, but cook your pasta the way you want it. I mean, if you like mushy pasta, go for it. If you like it al dente, however you want, doesn't make any difference. But now we're going to show everybody how you can make this pet friendly. Now, Harley has had garlic, and if you look at some of the, especially the higher end brands that have a lot of ingredients, so they're not limited ingredients, you may see garlic as one of the low, because it is a really good flavoring. And a little bit of garlic for your pet is not harmful, but it can be toxic if they get too much. So that's why I'm giving you this opportunity to do this without garlic. and then you choose whatever you want to. And Harley says, rats.
I want garlic.
Yeah, rats, you're taking away my garlic. Where's my chicken? Yeah, so I'm sorry, Harley, but let's see if you like this. So first of all, what I'm going to
Saying
do,
no garlic.
no garlic, I don't know. We're going to think about it. I'm going to take out just a little bit of the browned butter. And again, you can decide how much butter do you want on your pet's portion. If you have a small dog, it doesn't take a lot. It's going to coat it. All it really is a flavoring. So you can say, okay, I don't really want very much, or yeah, he can have that, because when you're feeding your pets, and you've probably figured this out, when you're feeding them fresh foods along with kibble, you're looking at how many calories have they had. Okay, well, they've been fed once today kibble. This time around, I'd like to give them some pasta, or they didn't have very much, so they can have those calories. They can have this. It's all a balancing act, just like it is for us. You count your calories, you watch what you do, and you should be fine. Here we go. We've got brown butter. All right.
I'm gonna try this,
We're
Harley.
going to put some in a bowl for Harley.
Now, actually, Harley wouldn't eat this very often. If he had it, he wouldn't eat this once a week. Probably maybe every 2 months he would eat this.
Right, and this is, I call these things, there are staple foods that you can feed your dogs all the time. And then there's fun foods that, should you be having people over, or it's a special night and you want to treat them to something a little different, they can have this. But always, they could have just this pasta with some olive oil over it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's something that's a carbohydrate, so it's really no different than their kibble. So you could, if he's eating chicken and he really loves chicken, he could have chicken, noodles, a little bit of olive oil over it, and that would be great. If we could get him to eat his veggies, he'd have a complete meal. So let's set this aside. Do you like cheese? Do you like cheese?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're gonna, at this point, give him just a little bit of cheese. Now, there's no cheese that's really bad for your dog. Some people will say, don't feed them blue cheese because it has the mold on it and everything. That's debatable. So you just kind of, again, think about the size of your dog, think about your carbohydrates, your nutrition, and everything. We're going to put a little bit of cheese on top of that. We're going to set that aside for Harley, and we'll talk about that. Now we're ready for ours. We're ready to do what we want to do and make it more pleasing to us, add some garlic and whatever. So we've got this big old batch here of pasta. So we say, all right, now I do want it to be garlic. I want it to have some garlic. So as we talked earlier, I'm not using the clove garlic. We're going to try some garlic paste. And it says that 1 teaspoon equals 1 clove of garlic. So how much garlic do you guys like? Maybe
Well,
2?
if I made that with regular garlic, I'd probably use a half a head chopped
Okay.
up. But you don't have to do that, because that
Alright.
stuff may be more.
It may be more
Maybe
potent.
potent,
So we're going to just do 1 teaspoon. Because we've got, like I said, about a cup of butter here. So let's try that. And again, it's always to taste. I do everything to taste. I rarely measure. That's kind of the way my mama did. She
No.
just dumped and taste and dumped and taste. Now, I have turned the fire off of this butter. It got to the brownness that we wanted, and it smells the way you want to. There's nothing worse than burnt garlic. So be very mindful of that. You probably want to turn your heat off and stir in your garlic. If this has gotten a little bit cool and you want to reheat it, don't heat it much. You do not want to burn your garlic. All you're wanting to do is infuse that garlic flavor into the butter. So you've got it here. I can smell it. Can you smell it?
Smelling good.
Yeah, there you go.
Harley's getting hungry.
He says, I smell my garlic. Yeah. All right, so you've got that really good and infused. Several people have different ideas on this. I like to mix a little bit of the cheese in with the pasta before I add my sauce, only because it's warm, the pasta's warm, and you can get that cheese to melt, and it's really good. Makes it really sticky and clings to it. You're watching, aren't you? He says, I'm used to this.
His favorite thing is cheese, one of his favorite things, so that's probably what he's
He
smelling
says,
there.
I smell my cheese. All right, so we've got the cheese mixed up in here, and now we're ready to put on the brown butter. All right, here we go. Now I'll be careful. And that looks like a lot. And pardon the pan. I know that was backwards to everybody. You don't see it very well, but you can hold it very well. Ew, that's a heavy pan. All right. It's brown when you put it in, thusly browned butter. You mix that around. Then, once it's all good and mixed, you're comfortable with how all that's coated, then you can add a little more cheese on top. You can also, I don't know if you guys add, it's probably not authentic Italian, but if you wanted some other herbs or whatever, this is a really good thing. It's just an herb blend. It has rosemary and different things
we
in
have
it.
that, yep.
Yeah, and so you can always take that and go over the top of this, just kind of like you would with salt and pepper, and add a little bit of that to it as well if you like.
And we would always add some parsley. Kind of
Yes.
gives it a nice little look too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think there's parsley in this. So once you've added on this what you want and everything, then we are going to get our plates ready. We're going to get Harley ready. And when we come back, we're all going to give it a try.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kayla Mitchell at Paris Veterinary Clinic. I just wanted to give you a couple quick tips on vaccines. I know that a lot of us are worried about vaccinating our pets and are worried about over-vaccinating. And so I just want you to remember that it's very important that we prevent diseases, and we can do that with vaccines. There are some vaccines that are considered core vaccines. So in a dog, distemper, parvo combos, and rabies vaccines are core vaccines. But there are some lifestyle vaccines that they may need, like leptospirosis if they're going to be outside around other animals, kennel cough if they get boarded and groomed, Lyme vaccine depending on the area. And in cats, we have a core vaccine that's called FVRCP, and then we also have our rabies vaccine, which again is core and required by law. But there is a vaccine that they can also get called feline leukemia, and if they're going to be outside, that's one of those lifestyle vaccines they should have. So what I would encourage you to do is take your pet to your veterinarian, talk about all the vaccines that they have and which are important for your pet to have.
Hi everybody, we are back here with our brown butter and garlic spaghetti. We've got Sharon and Jay, and Harley just had his little taste of it. Now he really enjoyed it. Took him a little bit to figure out, oh, there's no chicken in this, but it was still good. He enjoyed it, and now I guess we're ready to try it as well. And y'all go ahead. I've already got a little bit out there for you.
We're going to wait for you, but I
you're
can't
gonna
wait to
on
eat
me.
it. Here.
All right, well, I'm not the best server in the world, but I'm gonna get you a little bit here.
You were worried about how cooked the pasta was. Well, my dad always said, it doesn't matter how it looks, it matters how it tastes.
There you go.
So-
Like that, and you got to do it like that. All right, yeah. Okay. Are you ready?
We're ready.
All right. I don't eat. I let everybody else eat. And did you notice I was really kind? I got the spaghetti that was cut already in half for you, so we didn't have to sit there and slurp it all the way up.
You took the fun out of it.
I don't know.
Very
Delicious.
good.
That is really not all that bad, is it?
No, it's delicious.
No, it's good. You can taste, there again, when you brown butter, it almost gives it like a nutty, has kind of an unusual, and it's butter.
Good.
Good. Okay, it's butter, but then again, it's kind of like, is this a sauce? And I also was looking at the fact that you can add, if you really want to get creative with this, once you have browned your butter, you can add a little cream to it and make a cream sauce out of it. And that your dogs can have as well, because cream is fine for them. So, you think this might be something that you could share with Harley?
Well, yeah, I think it would be. And you can taste the garlic pretty good. So
Right, and so that will let you know 1 teaspoon of garlic paste is pretty stout. It's probably a little bit more pungent than maybe 2 cloves of garlic, because a lot of people don't like a lot of garlic. They like just a hint of it. But again, it's all to taste. Before we go, I just wanted to thank y'all for being here and everything. And I wanted to ask you again, What have you noticed with Harley? Because this is all geared toward pet owners. You know, this is food that we can eat, but we're all pet owners, and we want to know, how has this impacted Harley? And how have you, when you sit down to eat and you're feeding him, do you notice that that's kind of a bonding? In other words, he comes to you, but he's not begging, but it's all kind of bringing the family together. Is that?
Yeah, yeah, we have another dog too, Harley's twin brother.
But they're not.
They're not twins.
identical.
Probably
Yeah.
much bigger.
You know, we have a little cabin out in our woods, and we go there every Saturday night. Sharon and I, we take the dogs, and we cook out, listen to music, and then they know that's their treat.
Yeah.
So they have their spot. Harley will sit under the table, and his brother Rooster will sit next to me, and they eat pretty good. They usually, we might eat hot dogs, but they'll usually have a steak or something, and that.
I want to come sit under your table.
But they do come and bond with us, so they know they know at 8 o'clock in the morning that we're going down there in the afternoon. I don't know how they know.
That,
But
well, that's they have their
Yeah.
own little calendars and their own little times. So, I'm not Italian, but I've always heard food and everything is just part of being
yeah.
Italian. You
Yeah.
eat, everything works around it. And so it's really kind of neat that Harley gets to enjoy that and be a part of it. And I'm looking out of the corner of my eye and I see Harley, he's down there still eating. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you
Thanks.
Jay and Sharon for being with us. And don't forget that you can find Best Friends Kitchen at bestfriendskitchen.org, and we have a Patreon channel that's Best Friends Kitchen as well. So on the Patreon channel, you'll get to see the interview that I'm going to do with Jay here in just a little bit, some behind the scenes things, some extra stuff that is not just normally where you find this video, which is our YouTube channel. So you can find anything you want to know about Best Friends Kitchen from our website, from our YouTube channel. We have Facebook. So I hope that you will tune in, get your family, get your furry family involved in cooking, and just have a good time. And we'll see you again at Best Friends Kitchen.
It's a tough love